testing in July and August. Our public safety and law enforcement personnel believe that this IP migration can take place sooner than expected, as soon as this September, if this bill is approved with the urgency clause in it. It has received unanimous bipartisan support in the Assembly and in Policy Committee here in the Senate. I ask for a vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian.
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee. Aye.
Ayes 35, no 0.
LaMalfa. Aye.
Ayes 36, no 0. The bill is passed. Members, are there, and ayes 36, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 36, no 0 on the bill. The bill is passed. Members, are there any other items on Assembly third reading, file item 52 through file item 180? Senator Wright, for what purpose, sir?
Motions and resolutions.
Under
Mr.
motions
Chair.
and resolutions, sir.
I'd like to take AB 633, file item 143, and place it in the inactive file pursuant to the author's recommendation.
Without objection. Members, we return to file at file item 180. We are at file item 181. Senator Kehoe, do you wish to present? File item 180, do you wish to present, Senator? Pass. File item 182, no floor manager. File item 183, no floor manager. File item 184, no floor manager. File item 185, no floor manager. File item 186, no floor manager. File item 187, no floor manager. File item 188, Senator Correa. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 636 by Assembly Member Knight and according to military service.
Actually, Mr. President, Senators, this bill deals with our members of the National Guard. SB 636 requires that higher education institutions to provide at student selection a refund of tuition and fees paid for the academic term in which a student is required to report for military service, regardless of the institution's withdrawal date, and removes the provisions granting a credit option to the withdrawing student. Ask for an aye vote.
Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Strickland. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee. Aye.
Ayes 34, no 0. The measure passes. Senator Ted Lieu, what purpose do you rise?
We go to file item 221, please.
I'm sorry, which?
221.
221. It's out of order. Sorry, we're going to maintain the order. File item 189. No manager. 190, no manager. 191, Senator Kehoe, not at her desk. Senator Kehoe? Pass. Okay. 192, Senator Ted Lieu, at his desk. Secretary, please read. 192.
Assembly Bill 844 by Assemblymember Lara, an act relating to post-secondary education.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill will make clear that all students, including AB 540 students, may serve in any capacity in student government at the CSU, UC, and California community colleges, and that these students may receive any grant, scholarship, fee waiver, or reimbursement for expenses incurred in connection with their service to the full extent of the law. Respectfully request an aye vote.
Any debate or discussion?
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Canella. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. No. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. LaMalfa. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. No. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent voters.
Wright, aye. Calderon. Canella. Evans. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Wyland.
Ayes 21, noes 12. Measure is adopted. Members, join me in welcoming former Speaker of the California State Assembly, now Congresswoman Karen Bass. Senator De Leon, at your desk with...
Thank you, Mr. President, as well as members. If we can go back to motions and resolutions.
Without objection.
Mr. President, at the request of the author, I would like to remove file item number 242, that's AB 981, from the special consent calendar.
Without objection, so ordered. Senator Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the request of the author, can we please remove file items 150 and 233 to the inactive file?
Without objection. Lowenthal? Senator Lowenthal, is that okay? Members, at this time, the regular session will stand in recess, and the first extraordinary session will be convened. The prayer and pledge will be deemed complete. Senator LaMalfa will take up item 1, Senate Bill 3. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 3 by Senator LaMalfa, an act relating to taxation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I present SB X3 today. This is a very simple measure that would provide an extra line on the tax form to make it simpler for folks that would like to make additional contributions to the state general fund. Right now, there is not a line on the form to do so, so people don't know how to go about doing so. Indeed, if they just filled that out in their form, they would probably see it come back to them in a refund instead of designating it to be helpful for the state's general fund. So this is a simple measure at very, very nominal, if any, cost to Franchise Tax Board or to Californians to make it another option for them to be able to make additional contributions to the state general fund. There's only upside to this, no downside. I think it's a good measure to allow folks a simple way to do a little bit more to help the state. So I'd ask for your aye vote.
Okay, any further debate or discussion on helping the state? Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. No. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. No. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Lowenthal. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Pavley. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Vargas. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Runner. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Hernandez. Aye.
Call the absentees.
Calderon. De Leon. Evans. Hancock. Carol Lieu. Padilla. Pavley. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Wyland. Yee.
Ayes 26, noes 2.
De Leon, aye.
De Leon, aye.
De Leon, no.
Aye or no?
Hancock, no.
Ayes 26, noes 4. Measure passes. Senator Corbett, what purpose do you rise?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On behalf of my colleague, Senator Joe Semidian, I would like to request permission to submit letters to the Journal.
Without objection?
Yes. I'm requesting permission to submit 2 letters to the Journal relating to SB 2 in the first extraordinary session, and this has been approved by both sides of the aisle.
Without objection. Okay, we will recess the first extraordinary session and resume the regular session. Item 193, Senator Lowenthal. 193, Senator Lowenthal. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 892 by Assembly Member Carter, enactment transportation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, Assembly Bill 892 provides for an extension of the NEPA, or the National Environmental Policy Act, responsibilities to Caltrans, enables Caltrans to continue to streamline the environmental review process for transportation-related projects. As we know, that are sorely needed during these challenging times. This will save us money, time. This bill has no opposition, has broad-based bipartisan support. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Any objection with using the previous unanimous roll call? Ayes 37, noes 0. The measure passes. Item 134, Senator Correa. 194, 195, 196. No manager, 197. No manager, 198. No manager, 199. No manager, 200. No manager, 201. Senator Pavley. Senator Pavley. Item 201. Okay, 202, no manager. 203, no manager. 204, Senator Lieu. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 568 by Assembly Member Skinner, enacting to inmates.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, AB 568 clarifies Corrections and Standards Authority guidelines for how pregnant women are restrained while being transported to and from a facility. Currently, correctional facilities have inconsistent policies and practices for restraining pregnant incarcerated women during transport. Some facilities have restraint policies that could cause miscarriage or other injuries for pregnant women, such as shackling by the ankles across the abdomen, behind a woman's back to one another. AB 568 also says if restraints are necessary, staff should use the least restrictive, such as handcuffs in the front. By clarifying policies for restraints, AB 568 is a step to ensure the health and safety of incarcerated women and their pregnancy, and I ask for your support on the bill.
Any debate or discussion? Any objection with using the previous unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 37, noes 0. The measure passes. Item 205, Senator Alquist. Pass. Item 206, Senator DeSaulnier. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1346 by Assemblymember Atkins, enacting into employment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill makes it easier for electricians to get their certification. Currently, you're required to demonstrate that you've had some work in a related field in the last 5 years. This simply says that you'll get a report from the Social Security Administration that shows that you've actually been doing work in the field. This will make it easier for both applicants and for the state to get this background information and get people back to work. I would ask for your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. No. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. No. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee. Aye.
Call the absent members.
Calderon. Correa. Aye. Evans. Padilla. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Wyland.
Ayes 21, noes 12. The measure passes. Item 207, no manager. 208, no manager. 209, no manager. 210, no manager. 211, no manager. 212, no manager. 213, no manager. 214, no manager. 215, no manager. 216, no manager. 217, Senator Gaines. Senator Blakesley. 215, I'm sorry. 215, Senator Blakesley. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 964 by Assemblymember Huffman, enacting into water.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm pleased to present AB 974 for your concurrence. It creates a small irrigation registration that can be used for irrigation, heat control, or frost protection at a level of less than 20 acre-feet per year. The bill is modeled on the efficient economic water right procedure that's available for small domestic uses and stock ponds. It provides two benefits, one environmental, the other from a cost perspective. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion, members? Any objection to using the previous unanimous roll call? There is an objection. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Emerson. I. Evans. Fuller. I. Gaines. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Padilla. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Rubio. I. Runner. I. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Vargas. I. Walters. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Calderon. Dutton. Evans. Harmon. Padilla. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Walters. Wyland.
Ayes 30, no 0. Measures adopted. Item, let's see where we are here. 217. Senator Gaines? 217? Pass. 218. Pass. 219. Senator Anderson? Senator Wolk is ready. All right, Senator Wolk. 218. Please read.
Assembly Bill 1430 by the Assembly Committee on Local Government and Acrolein to Local Government.
Mr. President, 1430 is the Assembly Local Government Committee's annual cleanup bill for the Cortese-Knox Act, which governs LAFCOs and boundary changes. The bill was on our consent calendar last week, but needed minor clarifying amendments last week. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Any objection with using the previous unanimous roll call? Ayes 37, no 0. Measure is adopted. Item 219. Senator Anderson. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 316 by Assembly Member Carter and Acrolein to theft.
Mr. President, members, I rise to present AB 316, a measure that amends current law to classify stolen copper materials exceeding the value of $950 as grand theft. AB 316 has bipartisan support and strong support by farmers, businessmen, recycling companies, and law enforcement throughout the state. I'm proud to be a co-author on this measure, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Any further debate or discussion? Any objection with using the previous unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 37, no 0. Measure is adopted. Item 220, Senator Rubio. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 402 by Assembly Member Skinner and Acrolein to the CalFresh program.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I rise today to present AB 402, which will help ensure California's neediest children and families have adequate access to the state's CalFresh food assistance program. First, AB 402 gives school districts the option to distribute CalFresh enrollment information to families of students who are applying for free school meals. Second, this bill authorizes school districts, with the consent of parents and legal guardians, to share information with social service agencies at the county and others regarding eligibility for CalFresh programs. Amendments taken in appropriations clarify that this bill is not a local mandate. Therefore, it is non-fiscal. It has no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Any objection with using the previous unanimous roll call? There is. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. Evans. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Rubio. I. Runner. No. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Vargas. I. Walters. No. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee. Yee. I. Evans. I.
Call the absentees.
Anderson. No. Blakesley. I. Calderon. Correa. I. Emerson. No. Harmon. Padilla. Smidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Wyland.
Ayes 23, noes 10. The measure is adopted. Item 220, Senator Ted Lieu. Secretary, please read. 221, I'm sorry, 221.
Assembly Bill 1117 by Assemblymember Smythe, enacting to animal abuse.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill seeks to reduce the amount of animals in need of shelters as it temporarily prohibits criminals convicted of animal abuse charges from owning, residing with, or caring for animals post-conviction. This brings California in line with 7 other states that already have temporary ownership prohibition laws for convicted animal abusers. This bill has had no votes and bipartisan support. Respectfully request an aye vote.
Any further debate or discussion? Members, any objection to using the previous unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 37, noes 0. The measure is adopted. Item 220, Senator Padilla. 222. That is desk. 223. Item 224. Senator Carol Lieu. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 313 by Assemblymember Monning, enacting to residential care facilities for the elderly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill requires residential care facilities for the elderly to give notification to residents and the resident's responsible party when revocation or suspension of license is commenced or criminal action is brought against the licensed facility. This bill passed the Senate Human Services Committee 7-0 and has no opposition. The bill also adds license revocation to an established 60-day notice procedure to ensure resident safety and minimize transfer trauma. AB 313 ensures that residents and their loved ones are notified when the facility is being threatened with closure and that they will have enough time to make alternative care arrangements and avoid dangerous last-minute evictions. And I respectfully ask your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Any objection with using the previous unanimous roll call? Ayes 37, noes 0. Measure passes. Okay, members, that concludes the Assembly third reading for today. We will move on now to the special consent calendar. Is there anyone who wants to remove an item from the special consent calendar that has not done so? Secretary, please read the consent calendar.
Senate Bill 668, 107, 557, 596, 796, 801, 805, 913. Assembly Bill 1288, 44, 560, 629, 689, 1147, 1163, 1293, 1428, 878, 952, 1247, and Assembly Bill 648.
Secretary, please call the roll on the first item.
Alquist. I. Anderson. I. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. I. Calderon. Canella. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. De Leon. I. DeSaulnier. I. Dutton. I. Emerson. I. Evans. I. Fuller. I. Gaines. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Padilla. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Rubio. I. Runner. I. Semidian. Steinberg, Strickland, Vargas, I. Walters, I. Wolk, I. Wright, I. Wyland, Yee. Yee, aye.
Ayes 33, no 0. The special consent calendar is passed. Okay. Senator Fuller, what purpose do you rise?
To do the final closing. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let's lift the call first, and then we'll go back, okay? We're going to lift the call on item 139. Secretary, please.
Calderon, Correa, Evans, I. Hancock, Strickland, Wyland. Okay. Emerson, no to I. Correa, I.
Okay, ayes 24, noes 12, measure passes. Senator Dutton.
Just for an announcement.
Without objection.
Members, when we get towards the end of a session, it seems like people kind of procrastinate a little bit on finding jockeys for the bills and so forth. So I just want to give everybody a courtesy to let them know that I do plan, probably Thursday, to invoke Senate Rule 29. Okay, and that basically means three strikes and you're out. So talk to the authors of the bills, make sure they're ready to go, because what it says, you can't pass it more than 3 times. Now, I'm doing this as a courtesy. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but I don't want to get to the last day of session and have us held up here because people aren't quite ready yet. They've got these bills. This is the first year in a 2-year session. They can always move them, make them a 2-year bill. So I just wanted to put everybody on notice as a courtesy that I do plan to do that. Probably Thursday morning is when I'll probably do it.
All right, thank you. Senator Fuller. The desk is clear. Senator Fuller.
Thank you. The Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Thursday at 9 a.m.
Thank you. This meeting is. Senate stands in recess. I couldn't figure out why.